and it is the proximal 1/3 junction where I will have the motor point. So, and it is not on the anterior, it is at the medial aspect of it. Now the next part of that what I am going to stimulate is the flexor digitorum profundus. And flexor digitorum profundus is a deep muscle actually, the medial part. Both the parts, medial part I am going to stimulate, supplied by the ulnar nerve, which is a deep muscle. So whenever there is a deep muscle, the definition for the motor point is not only where the main nerve enters, that is for a superficial muscle, but for a deep muscle, is it where the muscle becomes superficial. And the profundus also actually runs, the medial portion also runs along the same course, and if it is, that is actually overlapped by the flexor carpi ulnaris. So where I will have the profundus motor point is where it is emerging out from the bulk of flexor carpi ulnaris, or where the flexor carpi ulnaris bulk ends and the profundus becomes superficial from there onwards. And if you look at that, again as I told you, that this is the bulk of flexor carpi ulnaris in my models, okay, and that means this is supposed to become superficial somewhere near here. And this muscle is right now not exactly, not as medial as your flexor carpi ulnaris. This is slightly coming from that medial to the volar aspect. So I'll be stimulating again here. I'll be stimulating here. Just leave, okay. We can have a pad. Actually, ideally I should have a pad, okay. Why? Because this wrist is going into extension. I want the muscle to be in a shortened position. Shortened position. Let me try if I can have anything. Okay, I will use some other little pieces which I have for my support purposes. So at least in neutral, if it is not in, it should not be slightly, the wrist should not be. So now I'll be doing here is, so this is the bulk that gets over, and so I'll be having my motor point somewhere here. So let me try and search for the profundus, and the profundus is the longest muscle, and it is going to flex the distal IP of these two fingers. So I'll be looking the flexion of the IPs, distal IPs first, not, okay, that should actually work. Remember, it is crossing all the joints, so obviously we'll have flexion in the other joints also, especially MCP and the DAP. But if the DAP gets flexed, that means I'm sure that I'm working with the profundus, because I cannot isolately make the IP to get. So that's what I'm. Have we started it? Yeah. And you can see that the IPs are started to go. Yeah. You can see that the IPs are actually making